Good evening, and once again, thank you, all of you, for coming today, joining us here. If you go to the Facebook page of Cafe Coffee Day, you will find 4 million likes, almost. I mean, nearly 4 million likes on that page, right? And that's not without any reason. I should say that they really revolutionized, or maybe better word for today, they really modernized, the coffee drinking experience for all of us, across India. I think they started in Brigade Road with a small retail outlet which still exists, if I'm right. And it's been a pleasure for Dell Services to be engaged with Cafe Coffee Day in terms of modernizing their applications infrastructure. I want to hear more about that from Mr. Venkatesh Babu. Mr. Babu heads the EMIAS division for Cafe Coffee Day, a food and retail, beverage retail chain, where he's responsible for strategic planning, solution delivery, application management, budgeting, creating business value with business IT, etc., and leading, business innovation transformation. Mr. Venkatesh has over 18 years of experience in IT, ERP reporting, and business analytics, and his experience lies in leading implementation of key technology projects like ERP, SAP, and Microsoft Dynamics, point of sales, business analytics, and negotiating with technology partners, strategic partners, and onboarding partners. Please welcome Mr. Babu, and thank you, Mr. Babu, for joining us today.
Thanks, Ramki. Oh, welcome.
So before we get on to discussing some of the IT and technology related aspects, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
So,
your business needs no introduction, but we want to hear some of the inner aspects of what you do.
Cafe Coffee Day started its business in 1996 with a cyber cafe, internet parlor in Bangalore. We were the first to start internet parlor in Bangalore. And with a short span of time, and we have pioneered the cafe concept in India. Today, I can proudly say that Cafe Coffee Day is India's favorite coffee shop, especially for the youngsters. Cafe Coffee Day is a division of India's largest coffee conglomerate, Amalgamated Bean Coffee Trading Company Limited, with more than 1,500 cafes, present in more than 200 cities across India. Today, you take any verticals. You take airports, you take high streets, you take corporates, any verticals you take, Cafe Coffee Day is present in all the verticals. And we expanded our presence in Europe also. Today we have around 20 outlets in Europe. And I think, I proudly say that Cafe Coffee Day is a perfect place for a relax as well as doing the business meetings. I think today a lot of companies, they do their business meets as well as the interviews in Cafe Coffee Day. I think it's become more of a business place.
No, absolutely.
I think everyone sitting here, I think they're all our customers.
Exactly. So, a business which actually, interacts with the consumer so heavily, day in, day out. What were some of the business challenges that you had, in terms of keeping up with the pace of the growth of the business as well as in terms of the technology infrastructure to support your business?
Actually, as I said, Cafe Coffee Day is in a retail business. The challenges from external customer as well as the internal customers, it's very dynamic. Every day, you get a new requirement and they want the technology like tomorrow. But today only, they don't give us the time.
Maybe yesterday.
Yeah, maybe yesterday. So you want to keep the customers happy, like the speed of the decisions, what makes a lot of difference. And to keep the internal customers happy, every day, my internal customer uses the system. First, the first and foremost is the performance of the system. When they click of a button, they expect the reports to come out. And today we have 1,500 outlets, and we add cafe every day, every business day we add on new cafes. That is a growth we are looking at. And the customer, internal customer, they want the performance of the system. The second thing is, as and when the data growth happens, the time taken for the backup, it also increases. I can't have a downtime for the internal users and says, I'm taking a backup, you can't use the system.
You cannot stop serving coffee, right?
Yeah. And other major challenge was the growth of the data, because the number of cafes were growing. How do I, keep the database growth under control? And, unless we have a good plan for the database growth, again, it impacts the performance. And as and when the company grows, we have to bring in a lot of policies, IT compliances, we have to take care of it. So, unless I have an infrastructure in place, I can't ensure, IT compliances are met. Today, one of the leading auditor, they come and do the audit for our business. If I don't say IT audit is not passed, they don't even move to the financial audit.
Right.
So, to ensure that IT audit, unless we fulfill all the IT compliances, it's difficult. So, we have to keep up with the pace of what the trend is moving. So, to improve the performance, we have taken certain decisions, like we have moved the server from single server architecture to two server architecture with load balancing, and we have put a good component storage. And now both the servers are on cluster, like one server fails, other server will take over. And for the backup, we have moved from a traditional, tape-based mechanism to a disk-based backup, which actually reduced from 16 hours to 2 hours. So, initially we used to take backup on Saturday night, full backup, which used to start on Saturday night. Sunday morning, my people were waiting when the backup will get over.
Right.
Today we were able to complete the backup in 2 hours. And other thing is, earlier we used to take the backup on a tape devices, but how guarantee is that, is the whatever the backup is taken is, can be restored successfully? So we didn't have the infrastructure to restore the backup, test it. So with these changes, we have an infrastructure, and we are able to restore the backup to a new server and test is the backup is successful or not.
Right.
Again, this becomes part of your IT compliance. Like we write the policy once in a month you have to test your backup.
Sure.
And if my IT infra team says, sir, give me another server, now we should have the infra in place.
Right.
And also for the database growth, I think Venkat is already covered in his presentation. He mentioned that with the new database compression technology, the database growth was almost 5 TB, which with the implementation of it has come down to 1.9 terabytes. And the performance of the system after the implementation has improved a lot.
Sure. So you had to go through a phase or a pretty important initiative of modernizing, right? I mean, so what was the need for that, and could you tell us a little more about that?
As I said, we are in a retail business, and the requirements are dynamic. Unless we have the good infrastructure in place, otherwise, it's difficult to handle the internal and external customers. Also, other major policy what we have is we refresh the hardware once in 3 to 4 years. We don't keep the old servers more than 4 years. We have to give the.
We like that. We like that.
Yeah, it's good for any vendors. But we don't want to take risk with the old servers, because uptime of the server is very important. And also, we don't buy these servers. Actually, we buy it on a leasing, and it works on operating leasing. So we ensure that every 3 to 4 years we refresh the hardware. Why do we refresh the hardware? Is we want to move to a latest technology.
Sure.
And we move the OS to a latest version, database to the latest version, and also if possible, if the application also will try to move to the latest versions. And also during this migration process, we also ensure that whatever the business challenges we have,
Right.
We'll try to take care of that.
Right.
I would like to say that during this process, SAP Dell team, Dell SAP team, they did a fantastic job. They did a migration of our, especially in SAP SUSE Linux, from 9 to 11 they migrated, and database also they migrated from 10G to 11. And SAP we were already using the latest version, so we didn't look at any migration there. Like we were already on ECC 6 IS Retail, so we didn't look at any SAP version migration, but we moved the SAP from old version to the new version.
Right, right. So what is the process you adopted in terms of evaluating different solutions, different providers? What were your criteria in terms of selecting the best alternate, best solution, and the best provider?
We evaluated multiple vendors, before we finalizing this solution. The one important factor which we looked at was end-to-end solutions, like the vendor who can give both hardware as well as the software, and who can take care of the complete migration activities. Because we are in the retail business, we want to focus on retail. We don't want to, spend more time on IT.
Right.
We should leave it to the expertise who come, who do the job end to end, then they move out.
Right.
So we looked at end-to-end solution as one of the major criteria. Second is, we also looked at, the people who has got experience in SAP migration services, SAP capabilities.
Right.
So that is one of the area which we have looked at. And of course, we are in retail business, and margins are very thin.
Right.
Value for money, whatever we are going to spend, we should justify to our management.
Right.
So that is another factor which we looked at. Next is, we didn't want to stick to a proprietary architecture.
Right.
So we had a bad experience in the previous migrations. We moved to a particular vendor with a proprietary architecture. But this before we started this migration, when we were looking at the options, the OS vendors, they didn't have any roadmap for the proprietary architecture which we are using, or a database vendor, they didn't have the roadmap for that.
Sure.
So we decided, no, we'll not go for a proprietary architecture. We'll stick to the x86. Today this vendor or another vendor who can give us the support.
Right, right. Whenever I walk into a cafe coffee day outlet, right, I mean, any outlet, right, my experience has always been great, fabulous, and very consistent, How has been your experience with Dell?
Overall experience with Dell was good. I would say it's awesome when it comes to a SAP migration team. I think Venkat is here, who did the migration activity, and he was leading the project. Especially the SAP team, it was awesome, I would say. They did a fantastic job.
Nice to hear. So what could you tell us a little bit about the challenges that you faced during the course of the program? I mean, just forget that Venkat is in the room here, right?
No, actually, for any business, the main challenge is the downtime of the production server. How many hours you can keep the production server down. I think when I met the sales team of Dell team before we finalized this, I asked them, first question was, when we did the migration maybe 4.5 years back, with 1 to 1.5 terabytes of data, they took 3 days. Now we have 5 terabytes of data, how much time it will take.
Right, right.
So that was a crucial thing, and they came with a solution, like how fast we can do the migrations.
So what would you share with the audience here in terms of some of the learnings, do's, don'ts, things that went well, things that didn't go that well, anything that you want to share?
See, main thing, what we have to look at is the methodology of the implementations, what methodology they are going to use, and what are the risk which we are going to come up, how we are going to mitigate those challenges. These are the things, we have to study thoroughly. And Dell team came out with a, SAP's SAP methodology with a
right.
Complete, these are the risks which you are going to face, and this is how we are going to address the challenges. The completely transparent way, Dell team was able to put it across to us. and the expertise and the project planning, what they bring into the table is great.
Sure. Yeah. So, any area that you think Dell could have done better? Anything that you found that didn't meet your expectations or opportunity for improvement for us?
Overall experience with Dell was very good. We are in the retail business, and the speed what we look at, we open 20 stores, 20 cafes every month. How we can improve the speed, that is just a suggestion from my side. Instead of, can we reduce the time taken from migration? Okay, we went through the process, if you do a ASAP methodology, you have to do a business, a project preparation, there are 5 steps involved. If you go with the methodology, the time taken for the migration is more. Can Dell team can develop a tool or come up with a new solution where, can we reduce the time frame for the migration? But for the migration, yes, we planned around 70 hours for the downtime of the production server, which, we were able to complete in 60 hours. Is there any way we can further reduce the time taken for the downtime, and, which really helps because, okay, as a, we don't, as a warehouses don't work on Sundays, we can take a downtime, but if you move the retail business, even, having 60 hours downtime is a big challenge. How do we reduce that to a lesser time?
Right.
But
Sure.
overall experience with Dell, yes, it's good.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback, and I'm sure Venkat heard that and, making it a point to incorporate that in his next assignment. Let's forget modernization. What's your favorite coffee blend? Which is in your store, which is the one that you like the most?
I think, before coming to this event, both we had Katle Khan. That was my favorite. That's why
I have to absolutely endorse that. It was out of the world, blend. I really recommend to all of them. Thank you very much. Nice pleasure talking to you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for it.